Hello, I'm Kevin Benedict, Senior Analyst, Information and Mobility here at Cognizant. I want to thank you for joining us today. I'm very excited. We have as our guest today the founder of a mobile software company called Snappii. His name's Alex Bakman. Alex, thanks for joining us today.
My pleasure, Kevin.
So, Alex, I'm calling from frigid, cold Boise, Idaho. Blue sky. We've got 8 inches of snow, us hovering above zero. We're between like 5 and 7 degrees right now. What's it like there where you are at in New Hampshire?
Well, it's sunny and very frigid as well, so don't feel alone. We have
So
plenty of cold air to share with you.
What part of New Hampshire are you in?
I'm in the Lakes region in a town called Ossipee, New Hampshire.
Now, you got to tell me, how'd you end up there?
Well, New Hampshire is one of the few states in the U.S. with no sales tax, no income tax, and beautiful nature, mountains, lakes, and seacoast.
Ah, that's beautiful. Minus the seacoast, you sound like you're in Boise. So with that, let me ask you now, mobile expert interview series. So, you know, the first question I have to ask everyone is, what makes you a mobile expert?
Well, I guess over 26,000 mobile apps. Been doing it since 2010. And what else? Well, I guess being in technology for the past 35 years.
Okay.
Being an entrepreneur since 1994. And this is my fourth company. I still keep doing it.
Oh, man, you haven't learned your lesson yet. So let
No.
me ask you, you know, there's a lot of different categories of mobile, you know, enterprise mobility kinds of solutions. There's platforms, there's security, there's cloud, there's on-premise, there's SDKs, there's mobile backend as a service, on and on and on. Where do you guys fit? What category do you define yourself as being in?
Absolutely, Kevin. So the category that we're in is really focusing on myths. What makes Snappii very different, very unique? Goes back right to the beginning of company, Kevin. I've been preaching codeless app platforms since 2011. And, you know, back in those days, I guess, you know, well, what are you talking about? Mobile programmers need to build apps. Native apps are hard. You know, this is a domain of mobile app programmers. But what I recognize is that there are just simply too many enterprise apps to build, Kevin. There are, just think about hundreds of thousands applications that need to be mobile front-ended, right? It's an enormous investment that companies have made, and there's just simply not enough mobile app developers in the entire universe to rebuild enterprise business mobile apps. And so my vision right from the very beginning was to enable business people, business analysts, project managers, operations people, interns for God's sake, to be able to visually build sophisticated enterprise apps without having to write a line of code, without having to have any kind of programming skills or background. And that's what really sets us apart. You know, back when I was preaching this, practically no one was talking about codeless app platforms. Now 4 years later, it's a real pleasure to see Gartner validating codeless app platform approaches, Forrester. You know, it's nice to see Salesforce.com, you know, enter with Lightning and talk about enabling business analysts to build apps. Now it seems like, yeah, you know, a lot of other people have seen the light, and you know, basically what I've been saying for the past 4 years. So what sets us apart, what makes us very different, is Snappii is a mature, battle-proven platform on which over 26,000 apps, business apps, have been developed and are used both externally, outside the companies, as well as inside companies. As I like to say, we also eat our own dog food. Snappii monetized over 80 business apps that are available for sale in Google and Apple app stores that have been built on Snappii platform.
Ah,
80
so
polished business apps.
very good. So let me ask you this, Alex. A lot of the challenges that I'm hearing from companies is not as much with the mobile app development itself, but with the legacy back-end systems, which are just seeming to be too slow to support satisfactory support mobile apps. How do you guys kind of deal with that?
So what we've done, Kevin, is we built that back-end connectivity right into the platform. So out of the box, so you can start building your app. You can start, maybe with a local database on your device or with a cloud database. Build the app, get the prototype, get it into the hands of users very quickly. I'm talking about hours and days, not months. Really perfect it. Do lots of iterations, lots of prototyping, get it to the point where you truly have you. Then, when you're ready to connect it to the enterprise platform, it's simply selecting the right data source. In Snappii, the connectors are built in. You can connect through REST, you can connect via SOAP, you can deal with JSON data, you can connect to relational databases through ODBC. There is a variety of built-in connectors, right? And so that is already built in. Adding your own enterprise-specific connection document is basically an XML exercise. There's no coding involved. So I think that we have solved that problem pretty nicely in terms of separating the user, the business analyst who's building the app from the data connection. In some companies, for those that need a little help with XML, this is where IT help. But that's it. The connections are not that hard.
Got it. So let's talk about the various components that make up your solution. What are they? Do you have an SDK? Do you have in cloud kind of mobile backend as a service? Or walk us through each of the components so we can visualize that.
Absolutely, Kevin. So the entire system, right from the beginning, back in 2010-11 timeframe, has always been cloud-based. There's been nothing to download and install. Everything's in the cloud. You build the app in a visual editor, we call it. You build the app by basically dragging and dropping pre-built, highly functional components. And instead of writing code, you configure to achieve the desired behavior. So at this point, Snappii has a vast library of built-in functionality that is just drag, drop, configure. It's everything from maps, very sophisticated maps, data collections. Platform works in online, offline mode automatically, so that the app you build, you can disconnect internet and it will continue to run. Go ahead.
Alex, let me ask you a question about your business model. I don't need pricing here on the air. Just tell me, what's your is it by app, or what kind of model are you looking at?
We have a very simple business pricing, Kevin. So users, it basically the only questions users need to ask themselves is, do they want to pay per app user, or do they want to go with unlimited option?
Okay.
And that basically enables those that want to start out with just a few users and really kind of get the app right, enables them to do it inexpensively. And those that want to build apps for many, many thousands of users, Yep, opt out for the unlimited option. We make both possible and reasonably priced.
Ah, very good. So, what's your sweet spot in the market? So, what would you define as the area, the need for mobile apps that you guys are the best fit for?
Absolutely. So we're very strong in anything that has to do with data collection, inspection, auditing, reporting, um, yeah, e-commerce, being able to build catalog types of apps, um, be able to build tracking types of apps, whether it's delivery, transportation, logistics, um, whether it's public safety, where you have an app that's tracking a victim and police department can follow. Apps that deal with any kinds of reporting, anything that's highly transactional. In a word, Kevin, the platform is ideally designed for business apps that deal with data, whether you are collecting data, reporting data, calculating, analyzing, and sharing. Anything that is data driven is within our domains. That's our focus. We don't do games. We don't propose to do other types of apps. We're solely focused on data driven.
Got it. So, thank you for sharing that. So, let me ask you a personal question now. Have you ever gotten in trouble by a family member for your use of a mobile app?
Not that no.
Have you ever gotten in trouble for using or checking your smartphone too often?
Yes. Resounding.
You're guilty of that one, are you?
Guilty as charged.
Well, the very last question for you, Alex, is if you turn to your right, what's your favorite book that you see on that first shelf?
Oh, that's a hard question, Kevin. Lots and lots of favorite books. I'm an avid reader. Really hard to select one, but if I were to just pick one, I am a big fan of this one, biology.
Ah, biology. And why is that?
Very interesting insight to help you understand how people make purchase decisions.
Ah, very good. Well,
I'm
thank
a
you so
boring
much.
kind of guy.
No, Alex, I've got a few of those right behind me, as you can see here. So I appreciate so much for you sharing your experience, your knowledge, your solutions, your baby, the company Snappii that you have founded. And the link here, you'll see it right by the video. I'll put the link up and track Alex down and ask him further questions. So Alex, thank you so much for joining us from cold New Hampshire.
Thank you very much, Kevin. Stay warm in sunny and beautiful Idaho.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.